This one.
Oh, it is a web. It's not a webinar. It's it's
No, I think
just
it's just a regular meeting.
regular meeting. Perfect. All right. Well, we'll start now, and then Derek could cut some of these things off.
Great. Can you see my screen, Ferris?
Jan, thank you so much. That's perfect. Hey, Jan, thanks for joining. So welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. For the purpose of recording, we'll be speaking in a way that will be appropriate for the recording purposes. So welcome, everyone, and thank you for being here. My name is Faris Almi, and I'm here with Molly, and we're going to walk you through the Capital Readiness Program, one of the programs that we're deployed with some of our partners here in the state and abroad. Welcome, everyone. We'll move to the next slide. So if you're seeing this in a recording, please feel free to just in the chat, put your name and maybe one fun fact about you. If you're here with us now, you could use the current chat space and write your name and, write your name and one fun fact about you. All right, we can keep moving. So for those who are not familiar with the ISM or International Strategic Management, we've been around for 22 years and we've worked over 100 countries globally. We're lucky enough to work with so many institutions launching entrepreneurship programs or small business development programs in the local community, in many cases in underserved or underrepresented, under-resources, but not limited to that. We celebrated 20 years just a couple of years ago, and we're really excited to unfold with this year and welcome with our 22nd anniversary. I'm not going to read the slides since you could read that on your own time, but we do have a mission and a vision, and we are excited about fostering entrepreneurship and small business development globally. This slide is not designed for reading, but it's designed to show that there have been different milestones that we've achieved throughout our journey, and we might have shifted over time from one thing to another. And this just gives you some perspective on it. Those who are interested in reading this, you could download our 20th anniversary report on our website, and you could get to explore some of those milestones that we have reached throughout the years. Our work has been limited somewhat to these 5 pillars, where we work usually in the under the umbrella of economic development arena, and we usually are engaged in some kind of space of entrepreneurship, education, technology, and community engagement. And we really, I say that because although they're broad, they're also limited because we're not in every space. We're usually working in this umbrella within this specific space. We have been fortunate to work with thousands of entrepreneurs and leaders in communities all over the world. And what our learning has come from working with those individuals, whether it's one-on-one or through group sessions or through speaking engagement. And these things happen because of our strategic partnerships, which will be our next slide, with some of these institutions globally. Move to the next slide. This is always fun to have someone ask if there is an institutions or not that you're interested in learning more about what we have done with it before. You could put that in the chat and I'll respond to you. Otherwise, I'm happy to speak about any of them just to give you an idea of the depth of our experience in this space. Go to the next slide. Our work is structured in just a high level, 2 tracks, we call them, the entrepreneurs or small business owners track, and then the organization that supports them, or the EDOs, economic development organizations that supports those institutions, is where we basically divide our work in the kind of categories. If we go to the next slide. We have built over the last 22 years in this field and over 30 some years in the arena, lots of expertise around this space. I'm not going to read the slide as you can read it. I just want to highlight a couple of things from business coaching and planning to organization development or leadership development, to focusing on underserved or underrepresented or under-resourced communities, to working with scale-up organizations. All these things gave us different insights that we've learned. And that will allow us then to talk about our programs, which is the next slide. And in our programs, we have divided them also into different categories: programs that we offer our entrepreneurs and small business owners, and programs that we offer the support organizations. Now, what you will learn through the process of, as you engage with ISM, International Strategic Management, you will notice that our support organizations program might end up in an entrepreneur or small business owner program, because we usually support them launching such a program in that community. All right. And then, of course, we do programs that we work in collaboration with the support organizations to offer their specific community beyond directly going to the entrepreneurs. Let's go to the next slide. We do have a very specific process we have built over the years, and this is kind of like a ISM secret sauce, you may say. And then I try to make it look easy. We as a team try to make things look really easy, but just know that we're 20 some years behind this to make it look like this. And some of the things might look and sound really easy, and some might claim that they do. I always tell people, just test it, because the proof is in the pudding when you are able to deploy it or not. Let's move on to the next slide. All of our programs, which I'm going to talk today specifically about our capital and finance readiness program, but all of our programs, no matter which program we deploy, have what we call the 5 delivery methods that we use to deliver our programs. There'll be some types of portions of it that's online meeting or in-person meeting, a combination. There will be some type of method that we will engage you through in our ISM online community. Actually, we'll have access to each other, so you could talk to each other and exchange each other's information, as well as, this is where I tell people, this is where you receive information from ISM, as well as practice some of the information that we may ask you to reflect on your business. Then you'll also get access to our Yellow Plan. And Yellow Plan is an online tool that we have built, customized for our specific programs. So lots of energy went into making that. And basically what happens there, we have built questions that will walk you through AI to help you even answer some of the questions, including, of course, financial projections and financial forecasting, in addition to drafting your actual plan. In this case, will be a capital and readiness plan versus a business plan versus a resilient plan versus a growth plan versus anything else. We have 20-some programs that we could talk about how each one of them will do it, but we're talking today specifically about the readiness, the finance and readiness, capital readiness and finance program. All of our programs will also have some a syllabus as well as an agenda. And then the last component is will always be some kind of book or workbook or tools that we will introduce you to in the process of this program. In this case, we have lots of tools around financial readiness, credit repair, to financial forecasting, to break-even points analysis, and everything else in between. Let's go to the next slide. At any point, you could put your questions in the chat, or you could just ask the questions. Or online.
Yeah, and the next series of slides just go into a little bit more detail about each of these components of the program.
Yeah. So I'm not going to read them. I'm just going to highlight them really quick. So, each one of them will have, we have thought through basically what should be in each one of these components. And so in this case, when we're doing live sessions, whether it's in person or online or recorded, there is some kind of engagement for the information, ensuring that the topic is being understood by the participants, as well as if there are opportunities to have a discussion. We usually have breakout rooms or in-person discussions, whether subgroups or a larger group, to ensure that the information is being exchanged, and as well as defining and redefining the concepts that are being discussed within that topic. Go to the next slide. The participants will have, the online tool that we have is really unique, because what we did is we built an infrastructure utilizing already a well-known platform to therefore allow people to navigate through our specific pathway of creating these plans based on our experience having supported hundreds of entrepreneurs get funding. and what would it take to really create that plan to be ready for funding or finance. And then, of course, there are opportunities for them to have like questions and answers and comments between each other and support each other in what I would call like a running page of feed, such as you would have in your LinkedIn or Facebook or any other social media. We go to the next slide. Our yellow plan is very powerful because we have customized the questions that may take you through the understanding of how to build that plan, and then you get to finalize it here. So in the community online place, we actually have worksheets that you could answer some of the questions. And if you like your answers, you can copy paste it here, and then you could even use the AI to help you rewrite it, redefine it, and things of that nature. And of course, I always tell people you can't have a plan without a financial. So of course, includes financial planning here as well, in addition to market research and insights or industry trends within the tool. We go to the next slide. The reason why I bring the syllabus and the agenda, because we're not just meeting to meet, we're not talking to talk, we have a specific goals that we want to accomplish within that time. So not only are we going to learn, but apply and present what we're learning in the process. And as I mentioned earlier, all of our programs will have some kind of book that we recommend for you to read. Some of the books, actually, many of the programs in this specific case, we have a workbook that you will get that will allow you to navigate what we're discussing. Then many digital tools that you could, download and save, or use our online tools to stay connected to them. We can go to the next slide. So I want to go through now the exact specific details of the Capital Ready program overview, so you kind of like know exactly what will happen. So this specific program, we have done it in multiple ways. We've done it in 1 week, 3 weeks, and 2 weeks. And then this time we're deploying it in a 3-week session. So the duration will be 3 weeks. We will meet twice a week from 9 to 11, Tuesdays and Thursdays. And each session will have some kind of facilitated discussion as well as coaching. And in between sessions, usually on a Wednesday or a Friday, we will also have additional what we call group sessions, as well as open office hours, where you pop in and ask questions, and you could submit those questions prior to coming to that session. These sessions are broken down into these, you can call them 6 sessions. And then each one of the sessions, I think, have 2 or 3 chapters or ideas within each one of them. And then we go through that with you. And we, of course, will have guest speakers. We will have connections to the community. We'll have resources that are shared from the team, as well as the participants that go through these sessions. We first will right away tackle understanding the capital access, how to access it, where to access it, when to access it, by whom to access it. And then we'll dive really quickly understanding what the underwriters have to go through to approve it. So therefore, you have an inside information, what they're looking for or not looking for, or what red flags could be potentially raised. And then we will then dive into how do you strengthen your profile to ensure that your business profile look really good from an investment or from a loan perspective. And then optimizing your financial health is really looking also at your personal credit, personal health, finance, because many times, especially if we're usually working with small businesses, your personal finance is actually impacted, as well as looked at to what they call overall, sometimes they might refer to as global financial health of the organizations, which includes the owners themselves. And the last thing we're going to do is some kind of pitch for you to practice how you would ask for money. This isn't really pitching for money necessarily, but this is maybe for those who may be ready by then. But this is more about, this is the roadmap that I'm going to take to get ready for the next funding that I'm going to seek, right? This is the pathway I'm going to take. I'm going to go after these institutions. I'm going to talk to these individuals, and so on and so forth. And then, of course, there will be some continuous development and graduations. We usually do 2 additional sessions post-graduation to ensure that if there are anything else that after now that you graduated and settled with the information, that you're really comprehending it. And through our partnerships, many of our partners have, I call it, additional programs that we offer through them or with their other partners to ensure that you continue your pathway to success, whatever that is for you. We can keep going, Molly? So this is just additional details in the sessions. I'm not gonna bore you reading them because I feel like anyone on this call potentially could read this. So if you have any questions on them, please feel free to reach out. This is meant to be informative about each session, right? So you can understand what will happen within these sessions. Uh, One thing we will have, of course, guest speakers, including, of course, funding institutions, as well as funders that will come and coach you on how to ask for money and when to ask for money and how to, and how to put your loan package together. We actually have a tool that we will expose you to throughout the training that allows you to use our tool at no cost during the program to organize all your paperwork and thoughts into one place that you could potentially utilize to apply for funding. You can go to the next slide. I kind of touched a little bit on this, so there will be some, many expectations from us, from the facilitators, of course, to make sure that they're delivering the content that we have created, and from you as a participants to ensure that you're committed, as well as, that you're engaged. This is not meant to be like what we're doing today, informational sessions. Each one of these sessions usually are more of a practice about the ideas and how to get engaged in the conversation. So usually we'll be asking questions and getting you to be engaged with the conversations versus you now receiving it, learning about the program. We'll go to the next slide. We have a full team that will be deployed to make this happen. Our lead facilitator will be Warren, who will lead the conversations on this whole idea, and he's well known in the space of microfinance and with a banking background. Will really lead you through to understand what what the curriculum looks like and how to unfold it for yourself. I will be in and out with Molly as needed to support, and then Bonnie will co-facilitate and support as well. And then we do have someone in the behind the scene making sure that you have access to all the tools, making sure that you have access to all the curriculum and all those things, and that will be precious. We do have a bigger administrative team. I'm not going to walk you through that today. Just know that there's an additional staff that will be deployed that you might not interact with them, but they're available if needed as needed. And then we do have an extended business coaches and trainers that we utilize based on the different projects that we're deploying within the arena. We've been fortunate. This is just some of the partners that we worked with just last year as a sample. It's not possible to put all of them, but these are some of the organizations that we worked with last year to deploy some of the programs. And I'm going to stop to allow any chances for anyone who had questions or comments or thoughts or anything that you would like to know. We always end our programs with one word about today's discussion, but I could wait on that till you have questions or comments. And since we have you, Jan, you could welcome to do that in unmute or in the chat. For those who are watching this in recording, you could do that in the comments sections or whatever tool you're using, or just email us or contact us directly. All right. We'll take one word in the discussions. You can put that in the chat and we can move on. For those who are interested, please feel free to apply. We do have an upcoming program. Molly, I think we're the next cohort with our partner. For those who are in Southeast Michigan, we have a partner that we're deploying the program with, and the deadline application for that is when? Do we have a date yet?
We have an application date, but I'll just say apply before March 1st, and we get started on March 11th.
Fantastic. The faster you apply, the better.
I'm going to drop the link in the chat for the application.
Yep. The cost for participants at this time is being sponsored by one of our partners, so no cost to the participant as long as they're accepted into the program. I think, and then as far as dates, the program, I would recommend to apply before March 1st, just because there'll be interview process and there'll be selection process. So the earlier you apply, the better it will be for all of us. So, but by March 1st, we will basically cut off the selection that we will take for the March cohort, and it'll be 3 weeks, Monday, Tuesday. I don't have the exact date. Molly, you might have that.
Monday or Tuesday and Thursday. Are you talking about when we're going to be deploying this?
Yep.
Yeah, so Tuesday and Thursday, starting on March, let me just make sure. Yeah, March 11th. So it's the 11th, 13th, 18th, 20th, 25th, and 27th. And then keeping in mind that we'll have 1 hour group coaching sessions on those Wednesdays in between. And then for 2 sessions after that as well. And Ferris, you want to
Sure.
talk a little bit about eligibility? Why would, who is this program for? I think that might be helpful for our audience too.
Yeah, sure. So this program is not designed. This program is actually designed for those who are seeking funding. So if you're thinking of applying for funding, or you're in the process of applying for funding, or you're planning to apply for funding, that would be it. We recommend that that you are ready to apply. That we would be ideal if we can help you apply through the process or support you through the process to create that plan. But that's what the program is designed for, to understand what would it take for you to get real funding based on understanding how the funding works. So whether it's a loan or a grant or whatever you're applying for in funding purposes. It is not designed to write a business plan. So sometimes we get individuals say, well, I need to write a business plan. Our tool, although you can use it to write your business plan, we have customized it to build your capital and finance ready plan, meaning that how are you going to go about getting that money? What are the milestones that you need to deploy to get that funding? You need 250,000, but how much do you really need now, and how long will it take, and what milestones you'll achieve, and where's that funding coming from? Some of the stuff you could definitely use in your regular business plan, but this is meant to be like, this is my pathway, internal use, to create a clear way for me to go after funding. I need to talk to 5 CDFIs, Community Development Financial Institution. I need to talk to 3 credit unions. I need to talk to 1 banker or 5 bankers, whatever that is. That's really what it's meant for, and that's what it's all about. We will run 3 cohorts this year with one of our partners. We'll potentially have more cohorts running in different states and different other sites. So depending where you're calling from, you might want to just inquire with us and just fill out our short form for our capital and finance readiness service. Molly put that in, she did put that link in here. So for those who are watching on a recorded line, this will be available for you to click on and just fill it out. And then based on your location, we might be able to guide you through our partners of how you could go through the program.
And we had a few other questions in the chat. So one of the questions was how many in a cohort? I just said up to 25, but usually between 15 and 20 or so in a cohort has been pretty consistent over the last year. And then the other question is, what about nonprofits and then hospitality properties? So interesting. I would generally say this is industry agnostic. Ferris, how would you talk about
We've had
nonprofits? Any special kind of considerations for nonprofits?
We definitely will have, throughout the program, we could definitely bring that up, and it could be some of the questions that you could ask. But generally speaking, looking for funding is the same. One of the things I did see in the nonprofit world, having been on a nonprofit world for both on boards as well as helping them seek funding, is sometimes you just have to watch how you're structuring the language that you have on how you're spending your money. But we could, that's a side conversation, beyond here. The short answer is everyone, regardless of what industry you're in, you could apply as long as you qualify and you are wanting to go for funding. To qualifications is, you either have a business or in the process of applying for funding, or you plan to go after funding because you are already in business and you're seeking expansion or you're seeking funding purposes. That
Great, I
concludes
think
it.
that's it.
Thank you so
There's some
much.
contact information. I'm gonna stop sharing the slides now.
But I think the better contact link is to give them the link to place to apply, and that's the link that Molly put up there.
Yep, that's the best way to make sure that you are getting the resources you need.
Well, we could stop recording since this, and then we could maybe see if Jan has any questions or she wants to unmute.